As the glow of dawn pierces the night, let's journey back to an era deep in the shadows of Israel's story and draw near to the words of the prophet Isaiah, a herald of hope in the time of waiting. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. These words spoken by Isaiah were a promise to a people walking in darkness. This beacon guided the faithful through centuries of silence into the moment of wondrous fulfillment. Imagine, if you will, the world of Isaiah, a world fraught with unrest, where the flickering flame of the future seems dim, and the people yearned for a sign of God's presence. This isn't hard for us to imagine as we sit in the midst of wars and chaos all around us. It was into this longing that the voice of Isaiah arose, announcing a child, a symbol of a new beginning, innocence, and the profound hope that God had not forgotten his people. This child, Emmanuel, God with us, would be a sign that God himself would come to dwell among his people, to share in their struggles and to bear their burdens, and ultimately to redeem them from their own plight. This wasn't just a promise of a child, but the advent of hope itself, a hope that would cradle the heart of the oppressed. Now fast forward to a night in Bethlehem when the ancient hope was swaddled in flesh, lying in a manger, the hope of the ages to come. Not with a conqueror's sword, but with the vulnerable cries of a newborn. This was the child Isaiah foresaw, the hope he proclaimed, a hope now seen, touched, and held. And what of us, friends? We too dwell in a time where shadows often loom large. May the hope embodied in the Christ child serve as a beacon in our own uncertainties. As Isaiah's words pierced the gloom of Israel, may the truth of Jesus' birth pierce our own darkness and remind us that we are never forgotten, that we are never alone, and that we are always held in the arms of grace. In the light of Isaiah's promise and in the coming of Jesus into our world, let's embrace some practical actions that prepare us for the recurring arrival of love into our daily lives. First, the practice of active waiting. Advent is a season of active waiting, not passive idleness. So let's infuse our anticipation for Christmas with meaningful activity, perhaps through volunteering, learning something new about our faith, or even starting a new spiritual discipline. As we wait for love to come to town, let's have our actions reflect a heart of preparation, like Isaiah, who not only prophesied, but actively engaged with God's work in his time. Another option is to foster intentional kindness. In this busyness of all of our days, kindness can sometimes fall by the wayside. Let's intentionally perform at least one act of unsolicited kindness each day, whether it's a warm smile to a stranger, an encouraging note to a friend, or a helping hand to a neighbor. These acts of kindness sow seeds of love and reflect the heart of the Christ child whose birth we anticipate. Finally, create spaces of hospitality. Isaiah spoke of a time when all were welcome into the presence of God. In that spirit, let's create spaces of hospitality in our homes, our workplaces, and our communities. Let's invite someone who may be alone during the holidays over for a meal, or offer your time to listen to someone's story, or open your home for a small gathering to share the joy of the season. In doing so, we mirror the welcome that the Holy Family found in Bethlehem and that Jesus extends to all. So as we prepare again for this coming of Christ, let these acts, active waiting, intentional kindness, and creating spaces of hospitality, be our modern day manifestations of Isaiah's ancient promise. May they be the ways we too herald the arrival of love in our towns, our homes, and our hearts.